In this video, I'll be sharing with you my thoughts on Akainu, also known as the Blue Black Sakazuki leader, also known as the best deck in the OP05 format. I'll be comparing the leaders with most championship wins for Season 1 and Season 2, some winning lists for Sakazuki, and what makes them really strong and consistent, the OP05 current metagame and tier list, and lastly, decks that could beat Sakazuki with some sample deck lists. Last weekend we've had 2 championships tournament over in Osaka and Malaysia. Guess what, both winners were Sakazuki, and in Malaysia the top 4 decks were all Sakazuki. To give an idea of the representation and conversion rate, in top 8 for both Osaka and Malaysia's event, there were 5 and 6 Sakazuki respectively. After last weekend, Sakazuki has won 5 consecutive championships. Now let's compare it to Season 1. In Season 1 we were playing in the OP04 format, and towards the end, in Tokyo, it was OP04 plus starter deck 10. Out of 13 championship events, the leaders with the most wins were 4 Red Green Law, 3 Rebecca, and 2 Whitebeard, with Whitebeard showing the most representation in top 16 or better. However, the conversion rate isn't high. Now when we compare it to Season 2 spreadsheet, out of 5 championship events, Sakazuki has the highest representation, conversion rate, and is the only leader with championship wins. After only 5 events, it has already beaten the leaders in Season 1 for the most championship wins. If this isn't strong, I don't know what is. Here are some of the deck lists that won the event last weekend. This is the champion for Osaka Championship, followed by the second place deck list. Next is the champion for Malaysia Championship, and this is the third place deck list. I won't go in depth about the list or strategy of the deck, but as we all know, what makes Sakazuki strong is mainly due to the color blue and black. Blue loves bouncing stuff back to the hand or to the bottom of the deck. Black loves reducing and KOing stuff. So when you put them together, you get a match made in heaven. On top of that, having a built-in Marineford to reduce the cost of characters on attack also synergizes with the deck's strategy. Last but not least, the reason why this deck is strong is because it has an inbuilt drawing and filtering effect. Being able to draw is really good in this game, as you'll be able to see more of your cards. Usually discarding card is not good, but when you have cards that synergizes with the trash, such as Rebecca, Mancherry and Rob Lucci, it's a recipe for a top tier deck. Also, something that I noticed, usually decks that gets to see more cards are usually top tier decks, such as Rebecca, Whitebeard, Purple Luffy, Red Green Law and Zoro. So will Reiju join the crew in OP06? Now let's talk about the current metagame in OP05. I'll show you in my opinion what the tier rankings are at the moment and what some of the decks that could beat Sakazuki. Firstly, for the tier list, we have the clear tier 1, which is Sakazuki. In tier 2, I have included Purple Luffy, Katakuri and Anil. Tier 3, I have included Red Purple Luffy, Red Green Law, Red Purple Law and Uta. And finally for tier 4, we have Zoro, Whitebeard, Ace and Belobeti. Next, I'll be sharing with you decks that in my opinion could win Sakazuki. Firstly, we have Uta. Although it's not the best matchup, being able to create board presence is strong going up against Sakazuki, and pressuring the opponent with multiple attacks is really effective. However, Green Uta has a bad matchup against yellow decks like Katakuri and Anil. Here's a sample Uta deck list. Next we have Katakuri. Being able to attack 7k almost every turn with random triggers with powerful effect and access to 10 cost Mom is really strong. However, it has a poor matchup against one of the more popular decks, Red Green Law. So here's a typical Katakuri list. Another yellow deck that can play the long game and stand a chance against Sakazuki is Anil. This is due to Anil's endurance being able to outlast Sakazuki as well as playing multiple big body characters turn after turn. Here's a sample deck list for Anil. Next is a controversial take. I feel Whitebeard has a chance going up against Sakazuki, especially when it is using the rush build. A sample list would look something like this. And as we are on the topic of Whitebeard, in my opinion, Ace could also do well against Sakazuki with cards to get rid of their characters and having access to Red Rush characters. Ace also has a good matchup against Purple Luffy, so that's one more reason for you to try using Ace in OP05. The sad thing about these two leaders are it has a poor matchup against yellow decks. Finally, the last leader that I feel will have an advantage against Sakazuki is Red Purple Law. Its ability to create board presence really quickly as early as turn 2 is really good, and having an inbuilt removal to bottom deck their important cards is really good too, to prevent Sakazuki from reusing them with Rebecca and Mancherry. Here's a sample Red Purple Law deck list. It has a tough matchup against Red Purple Luffy or anything with big bodies. So to summarize the video, I feel Sakazuki is really strong, but it also requires lots of practice and sound decision making skill to pilot this deck at the top level. I hope we don't see any bans to the cards, but a slight tap on the wrist could work, like restricting or giving an errata to some of the cards to lock it to specific leaders, like for example Rebecca working only for the Dressrosa leaders, or Rob Lucci only working for CP leaders. This weekend I'll be streaming Aichi's Championship prelims as well, so let's see if Sakazuki continues to dominate and win that event too. If you've enjoyed this video, drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know in the comments what do you think should be done to Sakazuki. Is it broken or is it fine as it is? Also follow me on Twitter or X for more One Piece TCG content and to stay up to date with my upload schedule. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.